Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Angela Shuttlesworth of Be.Lead.Grow.com, where I help leaders and organizations to increase their profit, performance, and power. And the way that we do that is removing the barriers that have been hindering you from being able to show up and show out. And I say in all areas of your life as an individual, but definitely in the way that you provide your services, in the way that you engage your team and build morale and have that decrease where people just aren't getting along. So there's several things that you can do. And today we will be talking about the one move that will be the best move that you could ever make as a leader. So as I am building up the conversation to talk to you about this, I am going to also share that we're going live so that some others can join us, because this is some good information. So one of the things that I did yesterday, and I realized it needed to take a step further, was to really start this conversation around what does it mean to have a holistic perspective, and what does it mean to really understand yourself in a new way, and to also understand your client in a new way. And oftentimes we miss the mark because we either don't have the language, we don't know how to connect with them, and that is one of the main things that you need as a leader. Hey, man, love you too. One of my favorite leaders in Savannah, Georgia. Thanks for being on live. And that's our talking about leadership and our inability to connect with those who are following us, right? Because my thing is, if you're leading someone, you need to be leading them somewhere, and there needs to be somebody who's following behind you. And oftentimes we just take for granted the role of leadership, and we are not allowing ourselves to really understand those who are behind us. Hey, Sean, thanks for joining in. I want to go ahead and give you all a link for what we will be talking about tonight. And it won't be long. As they say, study long, study wrong, but it is powerful. So I just posted the link, and even just talking about this link, right? So I have to pause for this. I just finished trying to do a training in the entrepreneur's classroom. And I thought that, here I can post pictures and we can do all kind of things. But I didn't realize you can't do that in some of the groups when you're going live. So I literally went into my website, created a page, uploaded the media, and I went to Clark Atlanta University, and our motto is you find a way or you make one. So it's great to pay people for services, to have people build our websites. Hey, Krayla, thanks for joining in. And to help us with social media, all of that's great. But at the end of the day, there's certain times where you need to know how to do this yourself because you're going to have to be able to truly and fully show up and show out. And so because this tool is so important, I wanted to make sure that you all had it. So go ahead and click on the link if you can and pull that up in another window so we can have this discussion. And I want us to be able to dive right in. So when we're talking about really understanding yourself in a holistic manner and also understanding your client in a way that is truly going to get you to have some specific information that is going to help you to show up in a better way as a leader. So it's not just always trying to understand the problems, but even as you are coming up with the solutions. So when we think about it, it's like, okay, we spend a lot of time in this surface realm, right? Where we're saying either our clients and or our team members, like, you know what? They're having problems in their life, or they're having problems with their health. In what area, right? So the more specific that we are in the way that we ask questions, we can, my favorite thing is data. So we're able to use the data in different ways to be able to tell a story about why our business may not be serving our clients in the way that we fully can, right? But then there's also some opportunities for partnership as well, because my thing is you can't do everything, right? And so knowing that you can't do everything, don't try to do it. Stay in your lane. But you want to partner with those other people who are doing those services and create affiliates. And affiliates are beautiful things where you say, hey, I got a group of people that when they need this service, I'm going to send them to you. And I'm going to pay either, if you're including it in your price, you either want a discounted rate, and or you want a certain, on the back end, when your clients are buying from them, you want to get some money back on that, right? You get a return on your investing in that relationship. So that's an affiliate relationship. And so with this, is we're talking about your understanding yourself holistically and understanding your client and your team holistically. When you know it's not your lane, create that relationship. So create that partnership, and hopefully when possible, create that opportunity for affiliate relationship so that we can always make sure that that's an opportunity to increase your profit. So let's dive right in. Hey, Carnisha, thanks for joining in. So if you all go to the link, it is going to take you to this lovely diagram, which is the personal ecosystem map. And so because I know that some of you all are looking at the video, you may not have it up yet. So it's at Be.Lead.Grow.com/holistic, right? And so as it says here in the picture, as you assess problems and even identify solutions, do so with honesty, specificity, and clarity, and acknowledge how you and your clients are nurturing and abandoning each of these dimensions defined below. Consider how it is supporting or hindering you from being able to reach your goals. So as we're talking about this, not only do we want to look at, dang, okay, what have I done to abandon this area of my life? How am I not fully showing up? But we're also saying, okay, how does this relate to my clients? What are the areas that I actually do provide services for them? And or where is the opportunity for partnership? And so whether that is your own personal business and or an organization that you work for, even if you're down to just developing policies, if you are, I know some of you all's businesses that are on here where you're in healthcare or you own tax firms, like even, you know, like what is the conversation, particularly when we get to financial health, but what are they doing with the money? Is there an opportunity for them to reinvest themselves and for you to be able to continue that relationship to serve them better? So let's dive right in. So for biological health, and before, as I say that, and then I'll come back, it is your physical health and care for your well-being. And that is one of the areas that I admittedly know that I have been neglecting lately. And I am, along with one of my accountability partners, for the next 21 days, it's an area of focus. I need to stop playing, living overseas. French fries was my daily meal and I gained a lot of weight. So I'm like, I'm not happy with this. So I got to do something about it because it is hindering my ability to show up and show out in certain ways. Yes, I'm extremely confident in who I am. Yes, I love all of me. And I know I need to lose this weight. And I know it's also making me feel a certain way. So opposed to just saying, taking the road of, oh, I'm good, or I love me, so I don't need to do any work. No, what do I need to do? How do I attach goals to this? So each of these areas that we're going through, I'm identifying over the next 21 days, what will I be doing to make sure that I can show up fully? But then I'm also asking again, how am I providing services in a way that allows my clients to do the same? You said you can help. I know you can, Sean. Yes, yes, yes. And definitely, you know how I am about you all as business owners. By all means, please, whenever we're having these conversations, put in your business websites below so people can contact you, because I know that you help us. I can't remember. I know that you are the work of art and you want people to see their bodies as that, as she definitely is the body sculptor queen. And so we think about that. But I wanted to take a step back to say that I am a social worker by training, and I always say most of all at heart. And so this builds upon the social work perspective. So sometimes you'll hear people say the biopsychosocial, and it's a way that social workers serve their clients and gain an understanding. So you want to see yourself in that same way. So when we're talking about doing an assessment, you want to know what's going on, and not just when it's a time of crisis, not just when something is wrong. You want to do this consistently so that you can maintain your power. Right? So it's not just the point of getting to a space to discover your power, but how do you stay in that powerful position? And oftentimes that is by making sure that you are doing this work. Alrighty, so we talked about our biological health, and please, please, please feel free to share as what's coming up for you as we're talking about this. So we know biological health. We already have Sean who's going to post her link below and tell us how she can help us with this. Psychological health, that is your mental and emotional well-being. And I love it. And the associated coping skills. It's not just enough to say, oh, I have a negative mindset. Oh, I'm not really, my negative thoughts are stopping me from showing up. Okay, well, when those things happen, what do you do about it? Where do you go? Do you journal? Do you have a person that you call? Do you have a coach that helps you process it? What are the things that you're doing? So what is the coping skill that goes with it? And so, for example, one of those, I have a partnership that I'm going to have with actually my coach. She does this amazing hypnotherapy. I'm not trying to go learn how to do hypnotherapy. Instead of me wasting time on that, let me stay in my realm and just partner with her and allow my clients to use her awesome services. Social, your interaction in chosen relationship with community, family, and friends. And so when you think about that, thanks, Sean, for adding your link below. So beyourownart.org. I love that. So who are you and who are you affiliated with? Are you able to truly engage and to honor your social well-being? It's important for us to be connected and to feel loved, right? Those are Maslow hierarchies of needs. These are the basic things. So knowing that, you want to, if you know that that's a deficit and it's not allowing you to show up in the best way, you want to do something about it. And you also want to think, how does this relate to the way that you serve your clients? Where is he or she engaging with others? Is there ways that you can connect with them better? Are there other social settings that are not so formal? All of those things are important. Yes, Van, the power of partnership. It is so vital. Spirituality is so huge. And now, thankfully, we have this push for us to be able to have these conversations in different ways. And that is your beliefs, practices, and guiding principles. You individually need the space to honor your spirit, whatever that is. And whether that's your belief in the higher power, whether that's your belief in the lack thereof, whatever that space is where you are connected in your ability to do that, you want to honor that need. And if you are not able to do that, we want to hold space and create the opportunity for that. I'm constantly talking about meetup.com as a source where you can say you want to do basket weaving and you want to praise the grass. It's going to be somebody in the world that want to do it with you. So go on meetup.com and find your people. But then also as a business owner and as a leader within your in your organization, you want to think about, how do you honor spirituality? If you know, particularly as if you are in a predominantly African American jurisdiction, and or if you serve predominantly African Americans, we know the importance of the church, right? And so oftentimes you will think of, is that a place for us to post flyers? Is there already a ministry there that we can partner with? There's all of these opportunities. So regardless of what you're doing, you want to think about how you can better show up for yourself spiritually, and then how you can better serve your clients spiritually. Similarly, let's talk about your cultural health. Oh, okay. Of course I would do that while we're on live. Okay, great. Your cultural health is your knowledge, rituals, and celebration of heritage. And that is so important. One of the things that I found out since being back here was that they actually in West Palm Beach have a meetup every Thursday, and that I have not been able to go to, but I just found out about, that is allowing, they have drummers and they have so many beautiful things. Hey, Gregory. Ow! I have two financial geniuses on here. Thank you. I'm proud of you too, business owner. So it's just awesome stuff happening. I love who's all on this feed today. This is awesome. So we want to talk about, as you all, because a lot of business owners are on here today, which is awesome. Y'all just make me just, my insides, I say my heart goes pitter patter. But how are you able to honor the different cultural aspects of you? And not just, we think of race and ethnicity as our only cultural needs, but it's not just that. If you are a lover of art, if you are a lover of swimming, who are the people that you're connected to that allow you to honor those cultural aspects of who you are? And again, what are the cultural needs of your clients, and or who can you partner with to meet those needs for your client as well? And financial health, one of my favorites, your understanding, use, planning, habits, and access to money. Let me tell you something. Look, I got to turn the camera around on this one. This is one of those, we were just talking about psychological health. It is so important for us to do something about this. And I say us because myself included. I was in a challenge with Allison Bird, and I didn't make it past day one. Day one, she told us to go out and find a stranger and ask for $1. I was like, I'm not asking no stranger for $1. Like, that is not what I'm going to do. And then I had to realize I wasn't in a space as a business owner to realize that's what I do every day. I am online meeting people who were at one point were strangers to me, getting them to know, like, and trust me to the point where how can I feel comfortable asking somebody for $3,000 to join my coaching program, and I'm scared to ask somebody for $1. So it was such a powerful, even though I didn't do it, it was still powerful for me to realize the importance of that activity and to shift my thinking of, well, what is my expectation? Are they not going to give me the money? Are they going to judge me for having to ask? So there were all of these things around my mindset around money that I needed to fix. And particularly when you are either working for an organization and or your own business, you know, we're thinking about funding. It's always a part of the conversation. Are we going to have the money to do what it is that we want to do? You know, right? You have to pay to play, regardless of the arena. So knowing that, what is our understanding? How are we using money? Do we have money set aside for innovation and creativity? And they always say, if you want to know what's important to a business or organization, look at the money. And I love Dr. Venus Opal Reese always says, if you want to see how much you care about yourself, look at your bank account. Because if you cared about yourself, then you would have a savings and you would have money stashed aside because you're thinking of yourself from a long standpoint, right? I'm up here doing my arms so like y'all can see it, like I'm like longitudinal study, right? So you're thinking about those things. How are the people that you're serving, right? What do they think about themselves from a financial standpoint? Is it that you need to partner with someone to come in to do financial education? So those are the things that I want you to start thinking about. And again, the more you can have these conversations, and hopefully you're having them every single day, it then influences, like I said earlier, the data conversation. It changes the experience because you're able to be more specific. Hey, Juliana, thanks for joining in. All right, we have two more. So sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. I always love that song when I get to this part. So it is your organic expression and reactions to intimate pleasure. We are sexual beings and we want to acknowledge that. So how does, if you're in a space where you're sexually frustrated, how does that impact your leadership? Those are the things that people don't talk about, but it's real. And in the workplace, people would have those little sayings like, oh, he needs to go and get this and she needs to go and get that. And it was a way of go get your release so that you can come back and be sane. And unfortunately, those are the things that are neglected areas. And so as the question asked at the beginning, how are you either nurturing or abandoning these areas of your life? And you need to have an honest conversation with that. Do your clients, like I know I've worked in mental health and substance abuse majority of my adult career. And a lot of times we act like patients couldn't have sex. And the reality is they were going to have it, but they were going to have to rebel against the rules that were set. So were we going to honor that these are adults and they are sexual beings, or are we going to treat them like they're children and have all these rules that aren't fair and that are going to hinder their ability to see their family because they're not going to get the points? There's all of these things that we need to talk about. And the idea of safe sex is very relative. So we want to create safe spaces to have these conversations with others. But the first safe space is the space that you create for yourself. So you think about that. All righty, one more to go. And this is for you, Van, if you're still on. It is your political health. And people always say political health. What does that have to do with anything? And as I told you all, a lot of this is from the social work perspective. But these last three are Dr. AMS. These are my addition because I felt like these were missing pieces to the conversation and how we understood ourselves as holistic beings. Excuse me. As it says, it is your personal ideas that shape the way in which you interact with and influence your own chosen groups. So, do you feel like you are worthy of being fought for? Do you feel like the world is on your side? So regardless, and this is not a Democrat, Republican, Independent conversation. This is the way that you advocate for your needs. This is the way where you see yourself in a position of power. In leadership, and particularly amongst African American leaders, sometimes we feel like, ooh, power is this big thing that I don't want to talk about and it's a bad thing. The reality is you have to have power in order to be an effective and impactful leader. And we want to remind ourselves of that. And then to break it down and to make it so simple, in Be.Lead.Grow terms, we know that power for us means voice plus choice. So voice plus choice equals power. So how you use your voice, how you show up for yourself, and the more that you are in alignment with your personal ideals and values, and you make choices that are in alignment with that, that's high power. So every time I'm saying high power leader, that's what we're talking about. So think about that. So political. So I always say, particularly when you're talking about your clients and your team members that are working for you in your organization or in your business, if they don't feel like they can fix the pothole in the street outside, how do we expect them to feel like they can change the world? It's really that simple. So you want to go to a space of really thinking, how do you think that you can, what is your area of change, right? Do you really think like you really have influence? That's really what it buckles down to, because every space is political. In the workplace, you're in a political environment. In your family, it's political. And we used to have this thing where I remember when my grandfather, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, was alive and we had a family reunion. They did not play. Every year we have a very political thing where we vote to see where the next year is going to be. Well, I tried to come bring the traditions of my maternal side where we planned out the next 2 years so that families could, prepare, and then we could also just kind of be at peace with knowing where we're going to go. It was a huge brawl. He was like, no, this is the way we've done it. This is the way we've always done it. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. And so our family suffered in the sense of, for those of us who wanted to move it to a space where no family member lived, but we were willing to do that extra research and that work, we were like, if we don't have this extra time, we're not going to be able to do that. So think about in a workplace where you're like, if they just made one shift in the way that they think politically, we could do a lot of things differently in this workplace, right? And or if you made a shift in the way that you think as a leader, what are the things that you could do differently? Well, who are the partners that you need to have in the political playing field? Do you see yourself as one who is in an advantage point, or do you see yourself as somebody who's being oppressed? It is very important. And needless to say, in that example, it wasn't until my grandfather died that we now plan for 2 years. He had more power. I had all the logic. It didn't matter. He had power. And so, of course, we had those situations where people will be in the background like, don't worry about it. If y'all want to do it, we'll plan and we'll make it happen and we'll get the votes. But even in our family, those things are important. So surely in your business, they are important. So again, if you see the link that is at the top, go to www.BeLeadGrow.com/holistic. And I'm actually going to share this picture in a couple of minutes as well. And I want you to print it out, and I want you to really be honest with yourself and say, where am I showing up in these areas? Do I really, even have an understanding of who I am? Right? Am I really abandoning or neglecting this area of my life, and why? What do I need to do to fix it? And or what do I need to do to strengthen it? Because there are certain areas of my life where I am extremely strong, and others where there's certain times where I'm weak. And some of them, like I told y'all earlier, I'm real weak right now. So the next 21 days, I'm like, I got to do something about it. So with that, I am here to support you. Do you all have any comments? I see that you all are still hanging in, so I'm excited. And of course, if you're watching this replay, you can always comment. Please tag me, and I will definitely come in and comment with you as well. And lastly, while people are typing, if you have any questions, as always, I offer for you all to go on to Be.Lead.Grow.com/scheduling and to apply for a complimentary strategy session. So one of the things may be where you just really don't have an understanding of how you're not showing up fully in your life. So I'm like, okay, well, let's have a conversation of what that looks like. There's a strategic process where I ask you a series of questions, and we literally come up with what your next best step is. It may be with me, it may not be with me. I may have you going over to check out some of these business owners that are on this list now. And I'm very clear about that because I know how to stay in my lane. And when you're honest and you're doing a true assessment, and you're coming from, again, you have those specifics where you may say, you know what, leadership is great, but that's not what's most important in my life right now. So even though I'm here to help you with your life, leadership, and your legacy, you want to talk about what areas of your life are most important. And we can do that the more that we're clear on that. So, and you all now have the language. You know the different dimensions. You know how to explain it. You know how to make the relationships and the affiliates, all of that. How often do you hold this? I need to be more consistent. I come on various different times. We just finished the powerful leader. Why am I tongue-tied? Excuse me. The 5-day powerful leader challenge. So I kind of took a break, but I'm coming back because we are gearing up for the 90 days to freedom coaching program. So I will be on a little bit more talking about different ways this week. So let's say I'll be here tomorrow. How about that? I'll be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So hopefully you will join me. We're going to say that. I'm going to do that. That's my promise to myself. Do you have any ideas or strategies for promoting leadership in kids? Absolutely. So the most beautiful thing that we can do is be examples. And it sounds very simple, but it's having these very honest conversations. Hey, Veronica, I see she just joined in as well. And I'm going to use Veronica as an example. So I went to the Abundance Now tour with Lisa Nichols, and they gave us, I think that's where I got that from. Veronica, tell me if I'm wrong. They gave me this $1 million dollar bill thing. I can't remember what it was, but I was supposed to write on it, what was I going to do with my first million? And it was around like feeling like you had $1 million. If you did, where would you put the money? And I had just gotten back in town, and my girlfriend and her son came to get me. And I was talking to him, and I asked him, what would you do if you had $1 million? And he had this plan. So to me, even though I knew my experience, it was really for me to give it to him. And so he had a plan. He wrote it out. He put it up. And it was like, wow, what would I do? So getting him to start thinking about it was one thing. The other part of it, Veronica has a book that is amazing. And if she will, she can put the link down below. And it talks about how to help you to take action, right? And she took action and got her book updated with this beautiful cover, and it was just amazing, and she felt good about it. Her son saw her make this shift and saw how she felt opening the book, and so he said, well, I want to write a book too. So what did she do? Said, okay, who are the characters? What is the story? And she sat and she gave him the support. So sometimes it's just allowing them to be in our space, to know what we're doing, and to see the different decisions that we make. And again, if you believe that voice plus choice equals power, it's strengthening the opportunities for them to use their voice and to make choices and to let them fail. Right? So sometimes as parents and as loved ones, we want to coddle them, and we don't want them to see the manifestation of their choices. And that's not fair to them. We are doing them harm. We can create a safety net, right? That's under them because we know they're going to fall. Excuse me. But we want to allow them to see things through. And it doesn't mean that we're not asking questions like, okay, I know that you said you want to do this, but have you considered this? And, sometimes we have some very strong voiced children that say they want to do things. And then we're like, oh, no, we're not going to let you do that yet. Why not? Let's allow them the space to grow and to be innovative and to be creative. And the more they are strengthening their voice muscle and being very decisive, I am always telling children, I love when they know what they want. One of my girlfriends, her son was over here at a barbecue the other day. He was like, I want the purple grapes, the green grapes, and the strawberries. And now this was a huge fruit salad. And his thing was, I don't want anything else in there. So I sat there and I picked out what he wanted. And he wanted a couple of cups. So I had to keep going back and pulling those things out. And some people would be like, girl, he don't need to give all of that. Just give him the fruit cup. But no, because he was, and I told him, I was like, you may not understand what Auntie's telling you, but I am so grateful that you know how to make a decision. And it was so beautiful, the conversation that we had. And he just saw it as he know what he wants. But I was telling him how that's going to help him in his life. He may not remember that conversation, but guess what? The more and more I have that conversation, it is going to strengthen that muscle. I always say, what's that leadership muscle inside of you that needs to be strengthened? So that is what I would recommend. Renewed. Thanks for adding the link in, Veronica. Yes, allow them to live in their innocence and allow their current developing dreams. I love that. If we talk them down, it takes away their drive towards their truth. Yes, that is so true. And you know what? Now also add in, and me and Veronica had this conversation when I was talking about my accountability partner. That's what I was talking about earlier. And then I'll wrap us on up. But one of the things that I wish, in the same breath of allowing us to create these spaces and to manifest the desires that we want, I also know that I wish I was pushed more to see things through to the end. Because I would say, I want to do tap dancing. I go to one lesson and then I say, oh, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. Then I played the flute. I go to a couple of lessons and I don't want to do that anymore. And because my mother was very big on, okay, well, you got choice. You don't want to do it. Don't do it. And I think really she was already, building her career and doing certain things that, she got to a point where it was like, oh, good, one less thing I have to do. But I really wish that somebody made me focus and to truly honor something that was consistent, right? So that I can say, I've been doing this since I was 5. I don't have those things except for running my mouth and being a teacher. Like that's one of those things I've always been as a teacher. But then, remember, I love being a contradiction. So I think seeing things in a complex manner is how we solve things. So that's why I'm going to show you that. So I wish that, and I had a mentor that changed my life. She said, and I'm going to close us out with this. She told me that there's 2 different types of people as leaders. There are those people who are an inch wide and a mile deep. Meaning that, say, for example, I am a leader in housing. I can tell you state, local, state, county. I can tell you every federal, all the mandate numbers. I can tell you everything there is within this lane. So I'm an inch wide, but I'm a mile deep. I know everything that there is to know within this particular arena. Then you have other leaders who are an inch wide, an inch deep, but a mile wide. And I would say I'm a little bit more than an inch, but I am one of those people because my scope is so grasp. I have worked in, people sometimes are like, how have you done all of that? And you're so young. And I don't feel as young. But, I've worked in research. I've been a professor. I have worked in as an auditor. A lot of people don't know that. But I worked for the external review organization where I audited agencies in Georgia in mental health and substance abuse. I have also worked in inpatient psych where I provided direct care and I loved it. So I have such a grasp of an understanding. Generally, clinicians don't understand research. And then I got the beautiful honor of my love where I was the data infrastructure grant manager for all of DC. So I was able to really understand tech and I did grant management and I've done so many things that make me extremely knowledgeable in a lot of areas, and that's okay. And because I have been able to get those experiences over time, it's made me very unique. And I get to choose opposed to feeling like I'm only in that inch. But for those who love being in that inch, That's great. Do what makes your heart smile. Like I say, what makes your heart go pitter patter. So you want to think about that. Thank you. Yes, very diverse, and that's just a few of the things. I mean, there's some other things that I've done as well, and sometimes it makes me sad because I don't get to do them as often as I would love to, and then other times I'm grateful for the new experiences that I get to create. You said wonderful. I communicate with my son constantly, encourage him to be vocal about what he wants. Yes, we need that. We need more leaders, and we need to prepare them now. So thank you for making that choice as a mother, and I'm sure that your family's there supporting those children as well. We have some awesome fathers that are a part of our tribe as well. Greg was one on here earlier. So with that, I am going to close us out how I close out all of our videos, which is with the reminder that as we show up beautifully for all of these other people, we are magnificent and great in many ways as we are helping them to be great, right? But at the end of the day, that's a beautiful thing. And we also want to make sure that as we are giving them our best, that you are reminded that it's important for you to give you your best, because you first deserve you at your best. So as we talked about today, please go and print out that diagram and make that first choice to show up for yourself in a new way. So loving on yourself, loving on your clients, and gaining that understanding is so important. Oh, yay. See, I'm still talking about you. Oh, excuse me. And that's another reason I need to get off here too. So for those of you, so many people are jumping on. Please catch the replay and use the link that is available so you can download your diagram right now. So take care, and I look forward to talking to you all and supporting you in the future. Again, go to Be.Lead.Grow.com/scheduling. 30 minutes. I'm telling you, some powerful things can happen in 30 minutes. And I will be talking to you all soon. Take